When we look up at the night sky, almost everything we see belongs to our home galaxy, the Milky Way. It is a sprawling collection of stars so wide that it takes a beam of light over 100,000 years to travel from one side to the other. Our entire galactic neighborhood is a tiny speck compared to the deeper reaches of space. There are structures out in the dark that make our corner of the universe look insignificant. Deep in a crowded region of space called Able 2029 sits the heavyweight champion of the cosmos. This is the galaxy IC 1101. Astronomers first spotted this glowing giant in 1890 using early observatories. It sits an incredibly long way from Earth, roughly 1.15 billion light-years away. Finding IC 1101 set a new standard for how big a single galaxy could grow. It showed that the physical limits of the universe were much higher than early estimates suggested. To understand its scale, we have to look at its physical measurements. From end to end, the massive IC 1101 stretches roughly 400,000 to 550,000 light-years across. This diagram shows the staggering difference in size. If you took our entire Milky Way and placed it right next to IC 1101, our home would look like a tiny frisbee sitting next to a hot air balloon. Most galaxies this size start out as thin, flat disks, but IC 1101 has packed on so much extra mass over the eons that it puffed up into a giant hazy sphere. Which brings up a mystery. How does a single galaxy grow so much larger than every other galaxy in its neighborhood? A structure this massive requires a violent mechanism to fuel its growth. To reach this size, IC 1101 had to aggressively take what it needed from surrounding stars. Space isn't a uniform void. Galaxies tend to group together into clusters, bustling cosmic cities where gravity holds hundreds of galaxies closely together. This diagram shows how gravity operates in these crowded spaces. The heaviest object settles in the middle. Because it has the most pull, it acts like a massive anchor, forcing its smaller neighbors to slowly sink toward the center. Over millions of years, these neighbors are forced together in a slow-motion collision called a galactic merger. The heavy central galaxy wins every one of these battles. It tears the smaller galaxies apart, swallowing their stars and expanding outward as it absorbs their bulk. IC 1101 operated like a relentless cosmic vacuum cleaner, steadily sweeping up and consuming every young galaxy that drifted too close. Those violent collisions knocked billions of stars out of their normal paths. Over time, these wandering stars formed a huge, fuzzy outer ring surrounding the galaxy, known as a halo. These mergers also used up all the free-floating gas in the area. Without that raw material, the star-building process stopped, and no new, bright blue stars could be born. Today, IC 1101 is filled with ancient stars, burning for billions of years longer than our own sun. They cast a distinct, quiet, golden yellow glow. The galaxy's blurry shape and golden color are the visible remains of a billion-year-long feast. If we travel past that fuzzy outer halo and dive into the very center of the galaxy, the environment becomes incredibly dense and dark. Hidden in the core is an overmassive black hole. It is one of the largest ever discovered, with enough pull to anchor this entire giant. This monster was created by the mergers. When dozens of galaxies are crushed together, their individual central black holes are eventually forced to combine into one singular massive entity. This black hole provided the immense gravitational engine driving IC 1101's relentless consumption of its neighbors. IC 1101 is more than a large object. It is a cosmic graveyard built from the remains of all the galaxies it devoured over eons. Our own Milky Way is much younger and more peaceful. It still has materials to build new stars and hasn't experienced this level of relentless destruction. We often think of the night sky as a still, quiet place. But out in the dark, the universe is an active ecosystem, and those distant glows are the final remains of billion-year-old cosmic battles.